All right, Tuesday edition of the Morning Pitt here on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. I'm Chris Peak from Panther-Lair.com, Panther-Lair.com, Pittsburgh.rivals.com. You know the website. Football, basketball, recruiting, you find it all at Panther-Lair.com. And, of course, message boards where you can interact with hundreds and thousands of other Pitt fans. You know the deal. You know what we do at Panther-Lair.com. You know what's going on there. It's the best online community of Pitt sports fans. And those Pitt fans have been very excited and had a lot going on in the wake of Saturday's win over Syracuse and kind of what this final week of the regular season is shaping up to be. We got some interesting things to talk about today. I think you're going to find them interesting. I don't know how long this might be one of our shorter morning pits, but I kind of just want to run some things for you. But before we get to it, we got to ask you to do the same things we always ask. Like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like button is down there to the left. Subscribe button, it's a little blue rectangle. You almost might not see it. But if you're not subscribed, you look down there, there's a little blue rectangle right around that yellow .com on the right-hand side of the screen. Click that. You subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll never miss any of our Pitt video content that we post on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. We post these morning Pitt videos every day of the week, Monday through Friday. We post, post-game press conferences and midweek press conferences. We have our live Panther-Lair show that we do every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. And we'll do that, of course, tomorrow night, although we'll push it back a little bit to be a post-game show after the Pitt-Notre Dame game. And as I said yesterday, I think we're just going to do post-game shows after every game the rest of the way. There's no, I don't know how many games they're going to play. It's going to be at least 4. Could be a lot more than that. We'll do a live show after every single one because I think people will always have something to talk about after these Pitt games. So I probably should have done one on Saturday night, but it was a little bit late. Had a lot of work to do in that particular situation, so we didn't do it. But we will, like I said, we'll be live after every one of these games. So make sure you tune in if you want to make sure you don't miss. Now, I can't tell you an exact start time. So what you should do is subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications, and you'll get an alert sent to your phone every time we go live. So if you're worried that oh no, I'm gonna miss the live post game show. What time is it starting? You didn't tweet it or whatever. Subscribe and turn on notifications. You'll get an alert whenever we go live, so you will not have to worry about missing any of the post game shows, which should be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a pretty fun and interesting off-season or postseason, with a lot for us to talk about. So be sure to tune in for that. A couple of things to cover today. Pitt is ranked. They are number 25. I have nothing else to say about that. You can't convince me there are more than 25 teams that are better than Pitt in the country. You can't. I haven't watched all 330 or however many there are, 370. I don't even know how many teams there are. I haven't watched them all. But you can't convince me that there are 25 teams that are better than Pitt right now. So they had to be ranked. At some point, a 21-win team that has 15 wins in the conference and or 14 wins in the conference and is sitting at the top of the ACC with 1 week left to go and 2 regular season games remaining, at some point you're going to have to rank them among the top 25. And it finally happened. And 7-year streak of not making the polls was broken. But I said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't care. I don't care about if they're ranked 25 or 24. Right now, particularly when we got this late in the season, it really doesn't matter to me at this point. It would have been far more interesting to talk about in December, November, or January. But at this point, it's all about what this team can achieve. And the rankings aren't an achievement. They're a reflection of the achievement, but they're not an achievement. This team has an opportunity to achieve something real and tangible tomorrow night. This team has an opportunity to achieve something real and tangible on Saturday. And this team certainly has something, an opportunity to achieve something real and tangible next week and the week or weeks after that. So I'm unmoved by the rank of, by Pitt being ranked number 25. That's cool. They got to send out some cool Twitter graphics. Everybody's excited because it's the first time in 7 years. Doesn't really matter much to me. That's not even what I wanted to talk about today, though. What I wanted to talk about today, I thought this was pretty interesting. And I think you'll find it interesting too. I was looking back through some old videos, some different things that we did last year, 9-10 months ago, just kind of previewing, just different stuff. We did some basketball videos over the summer and some basketball video interviews over the summer, particularly with the newcomers. And I went back and looked at some of them. And it was pretty interesting to hear what Blake Hinson had to say when he first got to Pitt, or hear what Greg Elliott had to say when he was, had just gotten to Pitt, or what Dior Johnson had to say when he had just gotten to Pitt. We had an interesting conversation with him. The one that really stood out to me was Nelly Cummings. And if you go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com, and you click the search magnifying glass, not at the top searching all of YouTube, but searching our channel, and you search for Cummings, there's a number of videos there. But if you scroll down a little bit, you'll find from about 9 months ago when we had a conversation with Nelly Cummings on one of our Panther-Lair shows, back when we were doing we would do one live show and occasionally release a video interview before we started doing these daily videos. And so I went back and watched the interview with Nelly Cummings, and he had a lot of interesting things to say. I want to play you this clip, okay? Because I think you'll enjoy this. It's fun to hear it, and it's especially, I think, relevant in the wake of Nelly Cummings having senior night at Pitt on Saturday, kind of the reaction he got, the ovation he received, and his performance in the game, and just kind of going out the way he did on the home schedule, at least, of his final year of college basketball playing at Pitt. So this is what Nelly Cummings said 9 months ago. It was in May 25th, 2022.
Yeah, so I tell people all the time, as a college basketball player, I've experienced every emotion in this game. I came from a situation where I was a bench player, didn't get much playing time, to role players, to star players on teams, winning March Madness, losing seasons. I felt it all. But the one thing I hadn't experienced until I came to play against Pitt last year was what it feels like to have your family around. And when I got a taste of that, it was kind of hard for me to really even envision myself anywhere else than that, because that was something that I was new for me. Like, I hadn't experienced that my whole college career, and it was like really, really important for me.
So, I mean, I don't know, when I hear that quote, and I mean, we heard Nelly Cummings talk last week about how much it means to be playing at Pitt and playing at home and in front of the hometown crowd. And, I think he talked after the game about it. But to hear that quote, even just from back in May, 9 months ago, before he played a single game for Pitt, he was at Pitt, he was on campus, just how much it meant to him. I just think that's, it adds even more, I think, weight to what Cummings did on Saturday, what he's done all season, and some of the things he said last week. So I thought that one was pretty good. I thought that one was pretty interesting. I thought you'd enjoy that. And check out this one too. I found this quote. I asked him just about his role on the team and how he can fit in and what he can do on Pitt's team this season.
Yeah, I think it's really important for us this year to have that kind of piece, that point guard who can bring all the other pieces together. Like, we have pieces already. There's already John in the paint. We already have Jamarius and Nike and all these other guys who can already play. So for me, my biggest role is going to be offering the leadership and the knowledge I have of the game, and really just leading these guys. And hopefully I can put all the pieces that we already have together and make us a very dangerous team.
So that was pretty good. I mean, I would say that Nelly Cummings more or less lived up to the billing that he had given to himself. He billed himself as a point guard and as a leader, and kind of almost a missing piece for this roster. And admittedly, he talked about John Hughley being part of it as well. And Cummings' role would have been, it probably would have been about the same with Hughley, but it certainly would have looked a little bit different if you have him on the court. But he more or less, what he described is what he ended up doing and the job, the role he ended up having with this team. He was pretty spot on, I think, in his contributions and his impact. I think he knew what he could do. He believed in himself, and he got the opportunity to do it and came through and performed. It was, I thought that was rather prescient. But this one, though, actually, before I get to the next clip that I'm going to play from that interview, I want you to listen to this. This is actually from last Thursday. All right, last Thursday we were talking to Nelly Cummings. They'll do these midweek media availabilities, they call them, and we talked to Jeff Capel for a little bit. We talked to the players. We talked to Nelly Cummings and Blake Hinson, and talked to each of those guys individually, one guy at a time, I should say. And they talk about all kinds of stuff. They talk about Syracuse. They talk about senior night. Blake Hinson talked about what the seniors mean to him. And Nelly Cummings talked about what it means to be a senior, at Pitt and playing at Pitt and all that stuff. But he had this quote. I asked him a question about how this team came together the way it did. It's not always common that you're going to have a bunch of almost random guys coming together and gelling and meshing with the chemistry that this team has shown. And I asked him, how did it happen? How did it work with this group? And this is what Nelly Cummings said.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is that it was genuine. It wasn't fake. We didn't have to try to fake like each other. We all actually do enjoy each other. And I think when you actually have that real, genuine love, then it's going to show on the basketball court. Times when the ball is loose, we're all going to die for it. We all got each other's backs. And we're going to ride for each other.
All right, so you heard some of the language he had in there. Fake, not fake love. It was genuine. It was sincere. They go on the floor for the balls. Loose balls. They have each other's back and all that kind of stuff. They ride with each other. You hear that language. You hear the way he talked about it, and he's talking about it after 29 games. After November, December, January, February. 4+ months of the season. About 4 months of the season. 2 more months of practice. They've been together a long time at this point. When he said that quote, which was February, last Thursday, what date would that have been? 23rd or something like that, February 23rd. He said that with the wealth of experience. He talked about his team and his teammates and the love they have for each other and the family feeling and the brotherhood. He talked about that with a lot of, kind of experience together to back that up, But I want to play you this clip from May. When we had that conversation 9 months ago, almost to the day, 9 months ago. It was May 22nd, I think. When we talked to him last week, it was February 23rd. So almost exactly 9 months later. It was 9 months and a day later is when he talked to us, that clip that you just heard. But I want to play you a clip from that conversation I had with Nelly Cummings in May. And I want you to listen to what he says. I want you to listen to the language that he uses, the words that he uses to describe what he sees in this team and part of why he believes in this team.
I think that chemistry is one of the most important things in college basketball. I think it's one of the things a lot of players and teams and fans really don't understand as much. Like, I think if you really genuinely love and have respect for your teammates, then can you hear me still? My phone cut out.
No.
Yeah. If you have that type of love for your teammates, I feel like it's going to make you play harder. You'll die for that loose ball. You'll make the right play. You'll hold them accountable because that's actually the person that you really genuinely care about. I think those are the separators between good and bad teams. So I think it's huge for me and JB, me, Nike, all of the guys really, but especially the backcourt mates. We have to have each other's back. Like, I can't feel confident that I can pressure the ball full court if I don't know my guy has my back. So I just think it's important for us and the whole team to establish that camaraderie.
There's almost some direct quotes in there. You know what I mean? Like, the same ideas, the same concepts, the same themes and topics are coming in. And that's last May. That's before the whole team was even together. Jeff Capel said it multiple times. They didn't have the whole team together until August. So they were still August, 3 months away from having the entire team together. Nelly Cummings is already talking about what they need to do to make this work, about the importance of team chemistry, about the importance of having each other's back, and the importance of love and being brothers and family. He's talking about it back then. And so, when you think, and I think there's a lot of things to take out of that, but the biggest thing I take out of it is when we talk about Nelly Cummings' contributions to this team and the impact he has made on this team, he came into it with that mindset. Already thinking about the importance of chemistry, thinking about the importance of love and support and genuinely liking each other. We've talked about that a lot over the last few weeks. This is a team that genuinely likes each other. These guys like playing together. And Jeff Capel has said it a bunch of times, and Nelly Cummings said it. You heard the clip from last Thursday. And they've talked about it as being one of the strengths of this team. And you can, I think sometimes you hear quotes like that, and you can either say, oh, that's really interesting. That must be important. Or you can say, yeah, well, it's easy to like each other when you make all these 3-pointers and all this kind of stuff. I think the fact that Nelly Cummings was talking like that in almost those same exact terms 9 months earlier, he brought that mentality to the team. He brought that mindset to the team. Now, I don't think he walked into the locker room and said, hey, we all need to be best friends. And everybody said, wow, we never thought of that before. But I do think he sets a certain tone. And I think, when you hear him saying that when you hear him talking about how important that is, and then you see the team seemingly acting on it, and you see the team thriving because of it, and all the players say it, and the coaches say it, that this is one of the strengths of the team is the bond that they have. I mean, I'm convinced. I'm convinced that the team really believes that it's important. I'm convinced that the team draws strength from it. I'm convinced that it's played a part in the team's success. And I'm also convinced that Nelly Cummings had a whole lot to do in bringing that to the team. I just thought that was remarkable. I listened to that a bunch of times yesterday when I was kind of cutting up some clips and putting together this episode of the Morning Pitt, and I just couldn't get over how he talked about the same things. And, we hear sports cliches, but that one, and so we often hear the same phrase repeated or something like that. That one, I think there's some genuine feeling behind it. And it's pretty interesting. I think it sheds some light on why this team is having the success that it's having and how they've gotten to this point and who some of those key guys are. I've talked about Nelly Cummings a lot this season about, his role and how important he is. I had a Morning Pitt video a week or two ago about how he's underrated. And I think he is. For his play, I think he's underrated. For what he does off the court, for what he means for this team, the kind of leader he's been for this team, I think he's severely underrated. And that's kind of, I think it's hard for us to grasp or put our finger on because we're not in the locker room. We don't, see what the leadership looks like in there. But I think when you look at, again, him saying these things 9 months ago and coming back to it, and Jeff Capel coming back to it, and the other players coming back to it, I'll buy in. I'll buy into it for sure. All right, like I said, might have been a little bit of a shorter Morning Pitt today, but I thought that was some interesting stuff, and I think it really provides a lot of the context and the background for this team, how they played, how they came together, why they've succeeded together, and the success they might be able to have. We'll have a lot more talk about Pitt, Notre Dame tomorrow on the Morning Pitt. We'll get you ready for that game tomorrow night, tip-off in South Bend. Of course, like I said, we'll have a post-game show after the game, so you can make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications, and you can get an alert sent to your phone so you never miss any of our live streams. If you don't want to miss the post-game show tomorrow night, you want to make sure that you subscribe. Of course, hit the like button down on that side, hit the subscribe button down on this side, and that would be great. We love to see those numbers, and we definitely appreciate it. Just like we appreciate everybody who watches these videos. So thanks for checking in today. Make sure you stay tuned to Panther-Lair.com, Panther-Lair.com, Pittsburgh.rivals.com. Yeah, check it out. Go there for all the Pitt conversation. Go and hang out with other Pitt fans online. Make sure you like and subscribe right here at youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. So thanks again for watching this video today. We'll be back tomorrow to get you ready for Pitt Notre Dame right here with the Morning Pitt on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com.